country once again reported over 9,000 COVID-19 cases and more than 200 deaths yesterday. With the increasing number of cases and deaths, the country's health system has witnessed its breaking point. As the grim situation largely persists in the country, the public are urged to follow the necessary health measures strictly. Good morning, I am Bipashna Lavang and these are the headlines of the hour. COVID-19 cases in the country once again exceeds the 9,000 mark. 214 more deaths reported yesterday, taking the country's COVID-19 death tally to 5,215. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's attempt to win the confidence vote seems difficult unless the inter-party dispute within the CPN-UML resolved and Janata Samajwadi Party's demands met. Cyclone Taukte makes landfall in India's western state of Gujarat with wind speeds of up to 180 km per hour. 12 lives claimed by the cyclone so far. And 3 Nepalese players confirmed to take part in swimming and athletics in the Tokyo Olympics. Uncertainty persists regarding the wildcard entry of 12 players. Nepal recorded 214 COVID-19 deaths yesterday, taking the country's coronavirus death tally to 5,215. Likewise, the daily cases has once again crossed 9,000 as 9,189 COVID-19 cases were reported yesterday. There are 113,480 active cases at the moment. Kathmandu Valley alone reported a total of 3,098 cases. Meanwhile, 5,767 individuals have registered full recovery, taking the recovery tally to over 345,000. The recovery rate, however, dropped to 74.4%. The Health Ministry informed that there are 1,259 individuals in intensive care units, while 400 are on ventilators support. 708 individuals are in various quarantine centers across the country. According to the Health Ministry, 21,653 samples were tested for COVID-19 through the PCR method. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, who has been drawn into controversy due to his several baseless statements on COVID-19, has admitted that the government could not work effectively to contain the spread of the deadly virus. Even as Prime Minister Oli had admitted the government's weaknesses, he has not taken responsibility for the loss of lives due to the virus at a time when the COVID-19 death toll in the country has surpassed the 5,000 mark. Prime Minister Oli, during a meeting with ministers, doctors and industrialists, admitted the government's weaknesses with the pandemic reaching a catastrophic level in the country. The recent acceptance of the government's weaknesses by Premier Oli, who had been giving controversial statements since the pandemic gripped the country last year, came as a positive note. However, in many cases, controversial statements by Premier Oli had attributed to the surging number of COVID-19 cases. Experts opine if the Prime Minister had put pressure on stakeholders in a bid to contain the spread of coronavirus instead of giving controversial statements, the country would not have had to face the current situation. The COVID-19 death toll has already surpassed 5,200, while hospitals across the country have been overwhelmed with infected patients, causing shortage of beds and other essential facilities. Patients have lost their lives due to the shortage of oxygen, ICUs and ventilator facilities. Experts opine that the government could not project the possible situation and failed to make plans and implement them to contain the spread despite having enough time for preparations. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's attempt to win the vote of confidence from the House of Representatives on the 3rd week of May is likely to fail as Janata Samajwadi Party, which has been termed decisive in the power equation, has said that the party would not vote until its demands are addressed. Given this scenario, if Janata Samajwadi Party does not vote in favor of Premier Oli, who is largely involved in settling the inter-party dispute of CPN-UML, then another process of government formation would begin. CPN-UML Chairman KP Sharma Ori became Prime Minister for the third time last week and is now preparing to win the confidence vote next week. However, it will be a tough situation for Premier Ori to win the vote of confidence until 15 lawmakers from the Chairman Mahanta Thakur faction of Janata Samajwadi Party support him. It may be recalled that the 15 lawmakers had remained neutral in the voting process last week. The Thakur faction has not reached any conclusion in providing the vote of confidence to the government, as progress has not been made in addressing their demands. Prime Minister Ori, however, is in the midst of constitutional obligation as he needs to secure the confidence vote from the lower house within a period of 30 days and also present the annual budget on 15th of the Nepalese calendar month of Jest. The budget at the moment is not likely to be endorsed by the parliament as the incumbent government is in minority. For this, Premier Ori is obliged to secure the confidence vote at the earliest. Political analysts opine the government's fate is still uncertain as issues with the disgruntled faction of the CPN-UML have not been settled yet, while Janata Samajwadi Party has also not decided in supporting the government. Constitutionally, if the government fails to win the confidence vote within 30 days of its formation, it will be way for the last option to form the government. And we'll take a short break here. We have more news coming up. Welcome back. Banks and financial institutions have aggressively expanded loans in the stock market after the COVID-19 pandemic affected other areas of investment. The share loan size has reached close to 100 billion rupees after the flow of 41 billion rupees in the first 9 months of the current fiscal year alone, which is almost 81%. We have more in this report.
The share market witnessed transaction of 9.57 billion rupees on Monday, while it was 10.41 billion rupees on Sunday amid the ongoing prohibitory orders. The investment in the share market has been increasing since the beginning of the current fiscal year, as other investment sectors have been largely affected by the ongoing prohibitory orders, while deposits in banks have also largely increased. Following the increase in liquidity, banks have been expanding share loans since the beginning of the fiscal year. The loan interest has also gone down by 4% as compared to the same period last year. In the first 9 months of the current fiscal year, banks have invested 41.48 billion rupees, while it was just over 2 billion rupees during the same period last year. According to Nepal Rashtra Bank, till mid-March, the total share loan has reached 91.89 billion rupees, increasing by 82%, which was limited to 50.4 billion rupees last year. Banks have approved total loan of 668 billion rupees during the first 9 months of the current fiscal year. Based on data, the share loan alone contributed 6.5% of the total loan outflow. The loan flow in other sectors, meanwhile, has been declining. The share loan, however, does not contribute in generating capital to impact the country's economy. Meanwhile, banks have been expanding share loans aggressively with a motive to earn profit. Likewise, overdraft loan, which has increased by 27%, has also been invested in the share market. Experts opine the central bank needs to come up with a plan to minimize the possible risk in the share market.
In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the public in the rural areas of Parvat district how have they been carrying out agricultural activities even in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
पर्म लाएर गरिन्छ अहिले एक्लै गरिएछ
एकातिर भोकले मर्ने हुन् कि एकातिर यही उले मर्ने हुन् कि कोरोनाले भेट्ने हुन् कि भन्ने हामीलाई यति तरासी भइछ
धेरै लामो समयसम्म काम गरिन्थ्यो भने धेरै साथीहरु बोलाएर गरिन्थ्यो भने अहिले एक्लै एक्लै गरिन्छ अलि थोरै टाइममा 1-2 घण्टा काम गरेर गरिएको छ मलसल बोक्दाखेरि भिडभाड गर्दैन अब टाटारा भएर काम गर्छौं छुइछाइ भउन भएन अब पोसँग छ कोरोना हुने थाहा हुँदैन
डर भएर अब डरले अब आले मर्ला भनेर अब छोराछोरी त हेर्नु पर्यो छोराछोरीको अब लागि त दुर्नै पर्यो पेटको लागि दुर्नै पर्यो
खेतीपाती भित्रै यसो खुट्टा तान्न अन्न निक्ले पनि खेतीपाती भित्रैतिर निक्लने अर्म पर्म अनि सँगी साथै भेट जम्मा नहुने
न्यून मात्रामा कामदारहरू खटाएर अब अलिकति सुरक्षाको हिसाबले सुरक्षा आफ्नो प्रक्रिया त्यही अनुसारले हामीले गरेका छौं
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question: what's your take on the government not holding pre-budget discussions at the Parliament even at the last hour? Your options are: option A, disrespect to the Parliament; option B, attempt to bring budget through ordinance; and option C, compulsion due to lack of majority. The voting is on. Type NAWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And time now for the sports update.
Sports news.
Only 2 months remain until the start of the Tokyo Olympics. 3 Nepalese players have been confirmed to take part in swimming and athletics in the Olympics, which is scheduled to be held amid the coronavirus pandemic. However, the participation of other players has still not been confirmed. The International Olympic Committee and the Japanese government have made it clear that the Tokyo Olympics, which is scheduled to take place from 23rd of July till 8th of August, will be held according to schedule this time. However, a campaign is still ongoing to cancel the Olympics due to the pandemic. A few countries have already started vaccinating its players, preparing to participate in the mega sporting event, and it seems like the Olympics will be held as scheduled this time. As the starting date of the Tokyo Olympics nears, it is still not clear how many players will represent Nepal in the mega sporting event. Although the participation of Gopi Chandra Parke in athletics and Gaurika Singh and Alex Shah in swimming is confirmed, the participation of 12 players in 7 different events through wildcard selection still hasn't been confirmed. Nepal has sent requests for wildcard entry in karate, archery, taekwondo, shooting, weightlifting, judo and boxing. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day and stay safe.